Coming up on tonight's edition of The Catching Pen, all eyes are on Sandown Park as we count down to the 2022 Melbourne Cup heats this Saturday night. We highlight some of the dazzling performances from around the nation over the past 7 days, and we exclusively announce the slot holder for TAB in next month's Phoenix at the Meadows.
Welcome along to bumper episode of The Catching Pen. As the great Mo just said there, we'll be looking back at all the action from Sandown, in particular on Saturday night, looking ahead to the Melbourne Cup heats and, of course, the big announcement regarding TAB's slot holder for the upcoming Phoenix. Matty Jackson, as I bring you in, mate, welcome along. Big weekend. We'll, as we normally do, start away from the Dogs. Plenty of sport to keep you busy. Yeah, there was a lot of sport. Of course, the T20 World Cup was on Sunday, so I saw a bit of that from the casino after the Greyhound Awards Day, and then the NFL yesterday. My Patriots didn't play, but it was good to see Tampa go over to Germany and hear Tom Brady say it's one of the great experiences he's ever had in the game. Yeah. The amount of experiences he's had, that's a pretty big thing. Well, on and off the pitch, I dare say, Jacko. Just on the World Cup, I had a few shandies with Patch on Sunday, and I absolutely showed him how you don't bet on sport, because I'm the worst sports punter of all time, but I wanted to get involved in the cricket. I hadn't watched a game. I thought, I'll just bet on the runs in the first over, because it'll be over nice and quick. So I took the 7.5, and lo and behold, 2 no balls to kick off the over. We're at 6 with the last ball to be bowled in the over, and of course he took the 2 and we landed on 8. The guys that set these lines, Patch, they're absolute geniuses. Welcome to you.
Yeah, great to be part of the show yet again, Wiz, and big week. And you're right, you're not the best sports punter, but clearly all right's on the tip. Dominated Saturday night. You're not going to pat yourself on the back, but I'll do it for you. You absolutely BOG. No two ways about that. It was good to have a cold refreshment with you on Sunday, and listen to this, Jacko. We're walking down the streets of Richmond, and there's this little brindle whippet walking past, and what does our mate say? Oh, it looks like Zarbel. And at probably that point in time, we should have thrown the towel in and thought that's enough. But in the end, we kicked on, went overtime, and solved all the problems in the world. So good fun. Yeah, it was good fun. I also had the absolute pleasure to meet Patch's parents. So I jumped out of the cab when I got to Sandown, rock up to the gate. There's very attractive middle-aged couple talking to the green coat, of course, struggling to work out how they get in and whatnot. And I hear the gentleman say, I'm Jason Adams' dad. And I thought, well, that's going to get you a long way around here. I'd be saying that too. But yeah, it was Steve and Julie. Had the pleasure of having a chat with them and a drink. Really nice people. We can understand why they've got such a beautiful son. Yeah, absolutely. But I think the most surprising aspect of both yourself and Patch's story was you in Richmond. You would have been fish out of water down there, wouldn't you? A little bit, yeah. I'm probably on a different side of politics to most of them, but anyway, we survived. Let's get into the news.
The Catching Pen News is brought to you by Darwin Greyhounds, racing every Sunday and selected Wednesdays.
And we kick off with the huge news that Racing and Wagering WA have announced the slot holders for their inaugural slot race, the Sandgroper, $500,000, Cannington, the 14th of April. Get up those names on screen for you, and no surprise to see Tab Touch there, Sportsbet, Ladbrokes, Ram Racing. Apparently they've got one in the horses as well, Jacko, Team Britain, so no surprise there. Team Guess, I don't know whether they're just leaving us guessing there, SEN and Total Container Solutions. There you go. Looking forward to the Sandgroper, and I believe, it's just hearsay, but I believe Sportsbet have been in talks with a particular greyhound already. So I know it's a while away, but it's always evolving, and yeah, it's already some moves behind the scenes. Yeah, well, it's a race, $500,000. You would like to think that people are going to be on the front foot, but at the same time, it's still 5-6 months away. So there could be greyhounds who haven't even debuted yet that 100% we might see there. So it's exciting. I think I've said this when it got announced before. The only little issue with the race is it being a week after the Golden Easter egg. So it might force the hand of some stars, whether they come here to Sydney or they go over west to the Sandgroper, but that'll all play out in time. Yeah, absolutely. Our second news item relates to the New South Wales Greyhound of the Year Awards, and Jungle Juice took it out. We had a little bit of a crack at who might win it a few weeks ago. I don't know that any of us landed on Jungle Juice, so maybe a slight surprise, but there were 4 very, very worthy greyhounds nominated for the award. Also on the night, Jodie and Andy Lord took out the Metro and State Premierships. There's a whole host of other awards. Fernando Bale, the Sire, Serena Fly High, the Dam. But the one award I did want to point out from the night, the 2021 Distinguished Services Award, went to Glenn Summerfield. Glenn was at the first ever race meeting at the Shoalhaven Greyhound Racing Club, which is Nowra, of course, in 1971, and he's a volunteer at all the trial sessions, at all the race meetings, and he's a leader of all the working bees. And look, volunteers are the lifeblood of any community-minded sporting organisation, and yeah, I think Glenn absolutely deserved that award, and a thorough round of applause. You can jump onto the Dogs website if you want to see the full list of winners, but yeah, absolutely congratulations to anyone that took home a gong there. You went to the awards night. How was it? Yeah,
it was really good. There was plenty of emotion there. Of course, with Jungle Juice winning, Brian Jaggers.
Yep. There's no doubt the boys love that dog.
Yeah, they absolutely
very passionate.
It just showed how much he meant to them. And then Stanley Road with the win of the year, of course, his owner Eddie passed away mid-year, so his son Matt accepted the award, and there was a lot of emotion there as well. So it was a very emotional day and a terrific day as well.
The last news item relates to the news that Brendan Parnell, the CEO of Racing Queensland, has resigned. He'll be taking up a position with Arena Racing, who manages about 16 racetracks in the UK. Brendan came on board in 2018 and he took over at a pretty rough period, as stated by Steve Wilson in the article. It was a turbulent time. There was some perception issues up there in Queensland, mostly related to the 2 horse codes, I'm happy enough to say. Look, I think that what it does is highlights, especially given they've got a new track coming up, that it's really important they get the right people in there at the right times, because let's be honest, Patch, I'll come to you for a comment here. I mean, with the new track, the way their prize money's going, they should absolutely be sitting up alongside New South Wales and Queensland in terms of reputation and the class and quality of their racing. And yeah, as long as they get those appointments right, I'm sure they'll be sitting there once that new track's up and running.
Yeah, big time. I think at least from a greyhound point of view, there's a lot of upside, and we've seen that really building over the past few years with a series like the Gold Bullion and the Brisbane Cup now at the heights that it is, and obviously that new the plans new track at least, which is going to be enormous for greyhound racing in Queensland. So whoever takes a seat from the perspective of our code at least has a pretty good head start.
Didn't want to put him on the spot, but the young gentleman I just asked for a comment should be putting a CV, I would have thought, in there. Young Patch, he'd be absolutely, I reckon, a very worthy appointment if he managed to want to get involved. But we'll leave that. Let's get on to the run of the week. Stunning performance by Bandit Jane to take out the first heat of the Middle Distance Championship on Thursday night. Jacko, 33.99, so the first dog to go under 34 seconds over the 600. I actually commented on the night to someone, I'm such an old bastard that I can remember, when Awesome Assassin on the old Geelong track ran 33.99 to be the first dog I think we'd seen go under 34 for 600 anywhere, but this was a stunning win.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a cracking field, and I think the impressive part was that last 100 metres or so, like Zipping Novak was chasing her and she ran away from him. We know she's a greyhound that can run time. She's run 29.40 at Wentworth Park, but the key was the clean start straight to the front. She had no pressure and she showed what she can do. I spoke to her trainer, Andy Lord, on radio, and he's not overly enamoured with her during box 1 in the final. Just for if she gets crossed and then gets pressure on her outside, she tends to want to go back and then try and come around them. So certainly you make things interesting, as we'll touch on a bit later. Yeah,
for sure, and certainly honourable mention. Now, this was a performance. We head to Bendigo here for this one, and we'll roll tape. Youngster trained by Anthony Azzopardi now, but bred by the very, very astute Pam and Paul Braddon. This pup by Whiskey Riot, Patch, who had a bit of success at Sandown, of course, with Salad Dodger, who's arguably his best dog on the track at the moment, but the fast dogs are really starting to come for Whiskey now.
Yeah, they are, and all terrific looking dogs there, as we see head the charge to his thing there, less than 3 lengths off Typhoon Sammy's track record. So that was just his second start in the hands of Anthony Azzopardi down here in Victoria, so promising a lot.
Excellent performance there, and we look forward to seeing him, I think, in the Silver Chief, which is upcoming at the Meadows. To get us to a break, our Every Dog Has Its Day segment, and this week we've got a beauty. Trainer Matt Evans delivered Uncle Charlie at start number 59 to win his maiden at Capalaba.
Cash began fast out wide, heading towards the lead together with Uncle Charlie. Going to the outside was Galloping Goat, together there with Peking Goose, followed by Sippy Downs, Fire Flick and Minter Image. In front out wide now was Uncle Charlie. Quick Cash goes to the centre, but it's Uncle Charlie in front, and Uncle Charlie.
The first major feature of the Melbourne Cup Carnival was run at Sandown on Saturday night, with a stellar field lining up in the shootout. Plenty of hype surrounding the sport's Golden Girls, reigning Australian Greyhound of the Year She's a Pearl, taking on the Queen of Victorian racing, Wow She's Fast.
Out deep was Photo Man and McInerney. She's a Pearl, leads a length. Wow She's Fast has got the inside, drives through, races away. Wow She's Fast! Wow She's Fast by 4.
There it was, the shootout on Saturday night. Really good crowd, really energetic crowd, Patch, out there to see. Certainly one of the best advertisements for greyhound racing in many years, I would have thought.
Yeah, clearly and heavily discussed, as we know, but the matchup really lived up to what it promised. When Pearl led, you thought, right, this is game on. When Wow She's Fast settled second, you thought, here we go, this is going to be Hollywood, the end of this race. So in the end, she was too good, and I'm sure you'd like to comment yourself, Wiz. She was good. She's a Pearl. I mean, first look at the track's always a difficult assignment, and look, she probably doesn't usually give up that much room on the fence, which she did, which ended up the opportunity that Wow She's Fast needed to go on and win the race, be too good on the night.
Yeah, and look, this is probably the most important part of the race. They're off that sort of top bend. At Wenny, we're sort of used to her coming back to the fence and kicking off it a little bit, and I think that's where she just wandered up. You're not going to give Wow She's Fast half a run and expect to be able to hold her. So, as we said on the night, Patch, absolutely was all honours with the winner on the night. Certainly from our perspective, we came away from that race with a lot of confidence, Jacko. I mean, she'd never been there. We'd expect her to improve 2 or 3 lengths, which I would have thought will have her a player in the Cup. But as I said, all honours with the winner. The other 2 dogs, they just weren't boxed ideally in a race that, from a map perspective, just didn't suit them. So I wouldn't be too harsh on judging the other 2 going forward into the Cup either.
Yeah, I completely agree. With She's a Pearl, I think she did what, particularly you guys as owners, Andy and Jody, did what she needed to do. She jumped very well, which was a little bit of a question mark, and if she improves those turns in the next couple of weeks, like you said, she's going to be a big player. From my perspective, I thought, wow, she's fast. Even though she won the race, for me, she was a little bit underwhelming. She was a touch slow to begin, but I thought she got the clear, pretty much unimpeded run, and I expected her to go faster. If someone said to me before the race, Pearl's run 29.35, I would have said to them, well, how far as well? She's fast. Beaten her by, and she only really got away from her up the straight. So I've still got the jury out a little bit on her, particularly in a full field. If she's slow out, it could create some troubles for her this week.
Yeah, she absolutely adores Sandown though, and that's absolutely in her favour. Let's have a look at the market for the Melbourne Cup. There'll be no surprise to see the 2 of them at the top, and I don't think there's any surprise to see that Kelsey's now not too far away there on the 3rd line at $9, and we have the trainer of Kelsey Bale on the line, Dan Gibbons. And Dan, you come into this race with a very strong hand this year, not just Kelsey, but Quinlan Bale was outstanding on Saturday. Must be very, very exciting. I know it's only Tuesday, but how are you going to keep a lid on it?
No, it is pretty exciting. I'm just trying to pretend it's not happening, really.
Now, Dan, with Kelsey Bale, she's had a fair bit of travel in the last couple of months. Of course, we saw her at Gawler. She's been to the Meadows, Sandown. How's she handling the workload as she builds towards the Cup heats on Saturday?
No, she's in great condition. She travels really good. Like she just sleeps the whole way. I don't think it matters whether she's going an hour or she's going 8 hours. She kind of performs the same. The travel doesn't really take it out of her, and her routine this week and last week will just stay the same.
And Danny, in her past 2 wins, they've been very different performances. We know in the Silver Bullet it was one of the biggest runs that we've seen all year, and then on Saturday night in her prelude, you showed a lot more speed and got a little more tired in the runs of the line. Is there any reasons you can come up with, whether it's from a preparation point of view or whatnot, or that's just her? Sometimes she's going to ping to the front and do the hard work early, and sometimes she's going to have to work hard and show us what she's got from a strength point of view.
I'd be guessing, to tell you the truth. I was a little bit disappointed in her run home, but I think I've kind of broken it down to 2 factors. She had 2 weeks off without running. I just wanted to rest her before she coming into the Melbourne Cup. She only had a box-to-box trial at Sandown, And yeah, either the rest or she kind of maybe thought she was pulling up at the boxes like she was in the trial, because that's the only two things I can really come up with. Either that or she just does what she has to do to win the race. And she knew she was in front and she wasn't going to lose. So she just saved the energy for next week.
That's not too bad. If she produces that sort of performance next week, I'm sure you'll be elated. Now, Quinlan Bale, the other winner for you on the night, mate. Patch and I had a bit of a really good discussion about him pre-race, actually, and I surmised that the reason we hadn't seen him around 2 turns is really just the fact that the prize money for the Country Cups has been so good. You just haven't had a reason to take him back to the city, have you?
No, we haven't really, and we kind of stepped him up to the 500 at the start of his career, and he couldn't run it out real well. So I thought we'll just attack all the races that were kind of in his distance range. And yeah, that was his first 500-metre race, I reckon, in 4 months. So I'd expect him to get a little bit stronger this week. And if he can run those first 2 splits again, I think he's a better chance than Kelsey, to be honest with you. Depending on the box draw, of course.
And Danny, for a long period of time since this sort of era of dogs that you've had have come into the kennel, Kelsey's been your absolute favourite since day one. Explain to us why.
I don't know what it was. We had a dog called Zimmerbale, and he's a big fawn dog, and he's always been my favourite from the start. And he broke down maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the batch came with Kelsey in it. And when Brendan grabbed her out of the car, she looked exactly like Zimmer, nice fawn and just real nice looking dog. She jumped on me straight away, and I put her straight into the main kennel, and it was literally love at first sight.
Now, Dan, it's well known you come from a wrestling background. You haven't been training for too long. Has that always, I guess, have you always thought you could get to training dogs at this level, or has it surprised you how quickly you've been able to achieve that?
No, it surprised us massively. I honestly thought I would never be training dogs from many, many years ago. I said I'd never do it, and I've kind of just fell in love with it, and we've just been lucky to be given the dogs that we've been given. We don't really work harder than any other trainer, to tell you the truth. I think we just get given good dogs, and yeah, that's a massive thanks to the Wheeler family, I guess.
Danny, you've got a lot of dogs, and it takes a lot of hard work, as you just touched on. Talk us through how many people you've got involved in the whole camp, whether that be at home or going the tracks week to week.
Yeah, well, it's mainly just me and Beck. We've got other workers and helpers, but at the moment it's kind of just us two and a family at the moment. But we're trying to build back a team because we've got a lot more dogs just arrived a few weeks ago. It's been pretty cruisy the last couple of months because we've been low on dogs. But yeah, the numbers are built up again now, so it'll be full steam ahead again in a couple of months.
All right, outstanding, mate. I understand it's obviously a very, very busy week, as every week is for the Gibbons camp, mate. But so thank you so much for your time, and good luck on Saturday.
No worries, fellas.
There's Danny Gibbons, who's been really good to us here on the pen. It's about his 3rd appearance on here. Might have to start paying him soon. Let's go back and have a look at some of the other good winners on the night. Patch, I'll come to you for a comment here on this first one. We'll roll tape. A lot of people very, very confident that Shipwreck would do the business there on Saturday night. When he led, I'd say most of them walked away and headed for the bar for a celebratory drink, but Amron Boy, too good.
Yeah, I'd assume he would have been the anchor of many multis across the country, Shipwreck, but Amron Boy was just absolutely terrific. And there was one crucial part of his race where he was just awesome. It was early, and number 7 was cutting down him, and that gap was closing from Nitro Bale. He made a decision to hold up a tad, get wide, and find the room that way, and he went on to produce what was a big, big win. Clearly the biggest win of the night.
Really impressive was Yachi Bale to win his Prelude Patch, and we saw his brother Valor Bale win a little bit later on in the night as well. He's got box 4 in the replay we're watching. This is a great litter, this Alan Deed litter. Zohar Bale also comes from it. Valor, as I said, who won a little bit later on. 29.46, again, just a really interrupted run in the first half of the race, but he actually began better.
He did, and if he had a bit more burn, he could have easily led, but we know he's just not that sort of type. And as we saw in the replay then, he was carved up again down the back straight, but just never, ever threw the towel in. And speaking briefly to Paula Bello, who had Panadero Warrior hit the front turning for home, he sort of thought, right, they're going to be hard to beat here. And all of a sudden, this blue thing come up on the outside and goes bang. So huge motor, and a bit like Zippy Tesla the Wiz, I think he's going to develop into one that we just love to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Royal tape on the last of the preludes we want to have a look at, and this is Paddy Wants Pats taking it out. 29.34 he runs here. Dundee Smoky runs second. Look, it might not be a Melbourne Cup for Dundee Smoky, but it might well be a Silver Chief, Jacko.
Yeah, I know. We've spoken about him numerous times on this show, Dundee Smoky, and he's very good. But Paddy Wants Pats did what Paddy Wants Pats does. He's just so consistent, jumps, puts himself up on speed and gives himself every opportunity, and he was just a little bit too strong late. And whilst he might be a length or two off the very elite with his racing style, he generally takes luck out of the equation. So if he gets any sort of good luck, who knows where he could end up. He's certainly good enough to fill a place at the very least.
Yeah, I don't know if there are any other beaten performances on the night that you liked, Patch, but in doing the replay reviews myself last night, I did catch one of Jacko's favourite dogs, Zipping Orlando, roaring home late in his prelude. I thought that was a super run. From an inside draw, he's absolutely capable of taking out a heat.
Yeah, he is, and he's building up. I mean, we've spoken so much about dogs over the past few weeks coming from interstate and how it has taken them a look or two to really get used to the track, and Gatlin being probably the best example of those, where Orlando's come through a similar path where he trialled fairly first look, he then went into a race and had no luck whatsoever, and starting to come good now on his third crack, which is exactly the situation that Gatlin had as well. So looking forward to him lining up this week. Fingers crossed he can gain the start, and yeah, big motor, that's for sure.
For sure and certain. I believe those fields will be out about 1 o'clock tomorrow, so absolutely just keep hitting the refresh button on Fast Track there. To get us to a break, we've got to remember when, and this is an outstanding one as well. Really good story behind his win, Tangaloa, in 1978. He was 5 from 5 coming into the series. He wasn't drawn into the series originally, but Paul Hogan, who was on the Sandown committee at the time, is now in the Hall of Fame, said, no, you cannot go without this dog. So yet again, proving people know way more than computers, and Tangaloa took out the cup.
Ready. Green light is not on as yet. Just about right. All ready. Green light is on. Here's the lure. Ready. Set. Away they go. Reuben Kane missed the start. First to move out was Tangaloa. He's going quickly with on the outside Battalion Blast. Tangaloa hunting up along the inside, and Reuben Kane, the favourite, is back third last on the fence, and back behind it is Jess Bank. Going down the back end, Battalion Blast, the bowler, got away, led by 4 lengths on Tangaloa. 2 lengths away, third is Riviera Tiger there, followed by Reuben Kane, who's running on quickly, but he's giving the leaders a tidy start. On the home turn, it's Battalion Blast being tackled out wide by Tangaloa, who's getting home hard down the outside, and Tangaloa wins the Melbourne Cup. Tangaloa first, Riviera Tiger second, third home is Reuben Kane. Break into Jess Bank there, followed by Cutaman, Leander Lad, always well back with Black Smoothie and Battalion Blast in a bunch.
The Phoenix, the race that has captured the imagination of the greyhound racing world. 8 slot holders, 8 of the country's best, and $1 million waiting at the finish line. In 2022, Tab wants to win. So there's only one choice for us, the reigning Australian Greyhound of the Year. She's a Pearl.
She's a Pearl. She's broken away.
Undisputed Queen of Wentworth Park. She has explosive speed, tenacious chase, and she's one of the fastest greyhounds on the planet.
But she's a Pearl, she's spectacular, a superstar, and she joins the all-time greats of greyhound racing.
A winner of the Golden Easter Egg and the Tab $1 Million Chase, she's trained by New South Wales' leading mentors, Jody and Andy Law.
This is greatness from a champion. She's a Pearl wins the Tab $1 Million Chase.
She's also got over 70 passionate owners, including our very own Jason Lincoln, Jason Adams, and yours truly. Plus, she's the sport's highest ever prize money earner.
The greatest prize money earner greyhound racing has ever seen.
She's a Pearl has everything you need to win the Phoenix, and she'll be out there at the Meadows on December 17, racing for Tab.
So there it is, the announcement that TAB has selected She's a Pearl to run in their slot for this year's Phoenix. Some stunning scenes of us lunatics going off after the egg there. Myself, Olmus and Patch somehow managed to escape that, but we do have the managing part owner of She's a Pearl, Joe Lanuti, on the line. And Joe, I'd say just a bit of relief to get the announcement made.
Yeah, g'day Wiz, g'day all. Yeah, absolutely it is. It's been a bit of negotiations to and fro with a few slot holders, but really, really happy to link up with the TAB and can't wait, bring it on.
Now, Joe, we've of course seen Pearl win the Golden Easter Egg and the $1 Million Chase. Just touch on the thrill it must be to now be chosen as a slot holder in the only other $1 million race in the country, in the Phoenix.
Yeah, it's been a massive year, Maddie. I think we got her started January, and I think she went on a trot of 12-odd wins in a row, the Egg, the MDC, the Temora Cup. And, you know, it's been a tough sort of 3 or 4 months since then, season and injuries, etc. But it's great to have her back. And this is the race that we've sort of targeted a fair way out. We're over the moon to have a slot now. And I think Meadows will suit her. I'd love to go and have a look or two there. And if she can draw the right box and she can nail the start, generally she finds the front in most races. That's where you want to be at the Meadows. So a huge thrill for everybody involved. And MDC, and then hopefully we'll go into the Melbourne Cup Series and then into a Phoenix. So incredible year.
Joe, clearly with her as one of the biggest names in the game, the competition and demand around her from this point of view is going to be quite intense. Can you talk us through the different dynamics of each of the offers? Was there a wide range of different things that were sort of weighed up as a consideration, or most of them were quite the same?
Yeah, good question, Patch. I think at the end of the day, they were fairly similar. It sort of came down to a bit of a bidding war, but from our point of view, we're over the moon to link with the TAB because obviously, due to yourself, to Mark and Jason Lincoln, we won the TAB $1 Million Chase as well. They're very reputable for one, and I think the kicker was a really big function that we're going to have on the night as well for all of the owners, all the family, all the friends. That's really important part of it as well, because I think we've done our part in trying to bring together a lot of people into ownership, and I reckon that's rewarded somewhat with a massive function on the night, and there's a few little intricacies that go with that I think the owners are going to love.
And although they only met last Saturday night in the shootout, She's a Pearl and Wow She's Fast, Joe, they've sort of for a long period of time sort of been considered rivals, even though they haven't gone punch for punch that often. Obviously, Wow She's Fast is attached to Sportsbet yet again, and being the reigning champion of the Phoenix, do you sense a bit of team element about the whole thing and that sort of rivalry between not only the two dogs, but also now the two brands?
Yeah, well, obviously we took her on the other day for the first time, and she was way too good. She beat us, 2.5 lengths or so, and I think we've got a fair bit of improvement on that run, but no excuses at all. Best bitch won on the night. I think so, yeah. Well, she won with Sportsbet last time, didn't she? And now we're with the TAB, so we get to go, well, hopefully we can stick up for one corporate, and arguably the biggest corporate in the country, and we might be able to get the better of Sportsbet if everything goes our way.
Just going back to Saturday night, Joe, not so much the night itself, but the travel on the way down. You drove her down with Andy. How did she travel on the way down? And then once she arrived to Sandown, it was a real eye-opening experience. I think we caught some really good vision of her, especially behind the boxes. But I even really watched her walking down to the start, and she was really having a good look around, taking it all in. So I know people sort of think, well, they just chase a lure around a track, and it shouldn't make that much difference. But just I think the overall experience and the surroundings, she's going to derive a lot of benefit, isn't she?
Yeah, my word was that footage was very telling to me too. I was watching it live on course, and it's the exact same thing I thought, looking up the lights, and she's probably thinking this is not Wentworth Park. But again, certainly no excuses. Best greyhound won. But as for the travelling, I sat with her in the back on the way down, and she never moved a muscle. She travelled beautifully, absolutely no excuse there, which is really important to make sure she travelled well. And I think the only human or animal that slept more on the way back than She's a Pearl was Andy Lord, to be fair.
Now, Joe, earlier you touched on the function on Phoenix Night for the owners. Just talk us through what it means for yourself and Craig, who run the syndicate, to have all these owners like Jace, the two Jaces, Mark, and the rest of the crew with She's a Pearl. And have the Meadows told you need to have a cap on numbers? Because I'm sure that 70 ownership group might grow to about 250 come Phoenix Night.
Yeah, I think that a sense of pride, Matty, I've said that before, but it's a big job and we've come a long way. It's very special. We know she's a once-in-a-lifetime greyhound for us. Every chance we'll never see another one, so we want to embrace it with everybody. And hopefully all of the owners can get down there because we do have a cap on it, and there's every chance that we lift the roof off the joint if she happens to lob on Phoenix Night. But no, really, really proud. And we've got just the best owners ever. We're racing in great races at the moment. And I think we're given a second chance too, Matty, with this bitch now off the back of what's happened the last 3 or 4 months. I reckon we're going to appreciate this preparation more. The first one, it happened so quickly. We're a bit nervous. You don't know what to expect, but we get a second crack here at taking on these big races. So we're just going to enjoy it.
My question's sort of in line with that a little bit, Joe. I can only sort of speak from my own experience here on Saturday night. Treading on track come Egg Night and MDC, that was exciting enough, but there's something different about taking it on the road, isn't there?
Yeah, I agree. We've never, from our personal point of view, we've never been in a Melbourne Cup. We had a greyhound with Matty Lenigan called Zipping Inglis, and we won a heat of the Australian Cup, and we lined up in that final, and we got a good crew there that night. That's probably 4 or 5 years ago. This is different. It's a Melbourne Cup. Everybody wants to be competitive in it. We'd only ever get the Lords just don't travel if they're not going to be competitive. That's proof in the pudding. And to take, we've been down there with Just Terms as well, and we've always gone down and been competitive. So I think so. There's all this sense of Victoria v New South Wales. I don't get caught up in it too much, but I think we're taking the right greyhound down there, and I love Sandown Park. We were there obviously last week, and I used to go down for every Speed Star pre-COVID. I love the joint and can't wait to hopefully make a Melbourne Cup final, and then the Meadows. To be there on that night, I saw the footage last year, and it just looks insane. It looked like the Everest at Randwick. You just want to be part of it. So yeah, bring it on. We can't wait.
Yeah, it was very much like that. A couple of other dogs going around for Punters HQ prior to the Melbourne Cup, of course. On Thursday night, the Middle Distance Championship will be runner 1 at Dapto. Andy's got 6 of the runners, but Punters HQ have got 2 in there. Good Odds Emma, who myself and Matty Jackson happen to have a small part share in, and the awesome Punters Bandit, who runs 3rd in the heat we're watching behind Corborn Magic.
Yeah, Good Odds Emma, obviously a new acquisition for us. I thought her run was very, very good. A big ass 600 first up, and she kept making a run. I think she's, well, I thought she'd be better 500, but maybe she might be a really good front-running 600-yard bitch. She'll derive plenty out of that, and then she'll back up in a mega star in a couple of weeks. Punters Bandit, she's only just turned 2 wheels. Some people might think she'll stay. We don't know, but she's bred to, and I think we should just be a bit lenient on her. She has run 34.18 at the age of 2. So, tell you what, if she happened to come out and find the front, she'd give them something to chase.
Yeah, it's a wicked field, that one there on Thursday night. You've also got Kenya Wilder heading to Casino for a heat of the Cup on Friday, I think they are. We're just having a look at his win at Wentworth Park recently, but again, a dog with a big motor, and John Thomas doing a good job with him.
Yeah, he's been a beauty, hasn't he? He's been placed at Group 1 level at Wenny. He's not a 29.5 dog by any stretch, but he might be, say, 17 starts, 10 wins. He's won just under 50k, and he's probably ideally suited at Casino Wiz because he rails so well. And at Casino, if you can do that and he draws inside, he mightn't be the fastest dog in the series, but I reckon he's a chance to make the final with the right draw.
Yeah, absolutely would be. It's going to be a deep series, that Casino Cup series, as it is each and every year. Mate, thank you so much for your time. Again, good luck with Pearl and those other runners that we spoke about over the weekend.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much to the TAB as well. All the owners, on behalf of us at HQ, we're very privileged, and as well as the Lords. Hopefully we do you proud.
Fantastic. I know she will absolutely do that. To get us to a break, our kennel keeper this week comes from the West, and I watched this one after the Meadows after Sandown on Saturday night. So it was surprising that I even saw this race at all, Jacko, to be fair. But 29.73 here, Sunset Blaze to run best of the night. Must have come out 2-3 lengths behind him. This is a PB for this dog, and he looks like he's set for bigger and better things.
Cindy Doyle, Al Pretty got dragged back as well, coming off the back though, and racing right away here as Sunset Blaze looks home by 5 to Alaska's Girl. 2.5 away is Cindy Doyle, is Ciziano Rocks battling on.
We start this week's wrap in the Sunshine State, where the Group 2 Ipswich Cup offered a massive $100,000 winners cheque last Thursday. Punters were keen on the rails runner, Harris Herbie, for emerging young trainer Gemma Daly, and were right on the money. The son of Seneca took his record to 28 starts for 8 wins and 12 placings.
Over Sunburst and Emerald Dragon, but it's Harris Herbie and Gemma Daly's Cup. Harris Herbie by 3.
On the same night, there was action in the Festival State with heats of the Brian Johnston at Angle Park. The Rob Harness trained Keen Rocket continued the impressive start to his career, making it 3 wins and a second from 4 starts when registering the fastest qualifying time.
They swing the bend. Keen Rocket still 2-3 in front, going well. Keen Rocket dashes away, charging Yarramundi Turbo got second.
Up next, it was off to Wagga Wagga on Friday night for the running of the Bidgie Cup. Formerly known as the Graham Hull Cup, it was back-to-back wins in the feature for Vader Bale and Samantha and Corey Grenfell.
Coming up to the turn and flying in front, Vader Bale leads into second. Star Packing's looming up at its outside. Vader Bale in front, Star Packing's trying to get it, but Vader Bale wins it.
Then we venture west on Saturday night for the running of the Youngstar Classic at Group 3 level. Rails runner Electrified was all the rage for Stephen Crystal Shinners, the victory booking him a shot at some of the feature events in the East in early 2023. The son of Aussie Infrared and Miss America has now won 14 of his 18 starts with 3 second placings. His prize money in excess of $110,000.
Win the Young Stars by 12. Second goes to Lapini. Manelli Hinto is certainly beaten. In behind them, Couch Surfer keeping well back in the field with Zipping.
There was some of the action from around the nation over the weekend. Plenty to talk about there. Harris Herbie's win in the Ipswich Cup also provided Seneca with his very first group winner, so we should mention that. Vader Bale, we spoke about her trying to win back-to-back cups there, which she did, but I think we missed the point that race had been renamed. We didn't pick that up last week. We thought that was a different race, didn't we? The Graham Hull and the Bidgie Cup, but apparently it was renamed. So she won the same race in the same year, which reminds me of Village Kid doing it in the Miracle Mile many years ago. And then Electrified's win there for the Shinners. And I can only think again of the Sandgroper. And wowee, haven't they got some strength, the Shinners camp?
Yeah, well, I follow Steve on Facebook, and it seems like every day they're posting a winning race, so all credit to them.
Absolutely. Patch, was there something there that caught your eye?
Well, outside of those that we saw, Unleashed Kalinda, who featured last year breaking the 300-metre track record at Hillsville, went again on Sunday over the 350 metres and went a time of 18.68, which is dead set humming. So as far as straight track rockets go at the moment, he is one of them.
My oath he is. A couple of the other features or really good performances from around the country, the Northern Districts Derby, which each and every year throws up a strong field. Patch, I'll come to you for comment here. Rejuvenate, I think we spoke about him after he ran just outside the record on debut. I think at Shepparton over the short course, but 25.27, he wasn't too slick early, but he got it done anyway.
Yeah, top win, and those 2 fallers escaped any serious injury, which was always nice. And for Rejuvenate, I mean, he was caught in a real ordinary spot early and made a really smart decision to hook to the outside and sort of win the race that way. So not only is he fast, which we've known since day one with him, but he's started to develop himself as a race dog. So hopefully things might turn pretty sharp in the future, and who knows, we could see him in the city sooner rather than later, maybe in a heat of the Silver Chief. But one thing I want to note as well is he's about 38 kilos, so there's not too many real gun sprinters of that sort of size. So it'll be interesting to see how he makes that transition, and fingers crossed it is in a series like the Silver Chief.
Yeah, not necessarily around 2 turns, but you'll find a lot of the big track dogs certainly have a bit of size on them. I'll stay with you here, Patch, for another very fast dog, not for profit. He broke the record at Taralga 1931, and look, he's a bit of a doyen of the sport, Ray Fewings. He's retired from race calling now, but can't he find a good dog?
Yeah, absolutely. And the turn of foot that this greyhound has is very impressive. So, look, won 6 of 7 now. Lines up at Warragul tonight. Race 11, number 3. He's $1.30 or around 3's on for our man Jared Daffy, who's certainly getting his health in order. So we wish Daff all the best for his journey, but you're not wrong, not for profit. So as mentioned, race 11 tonight, Warragul. Hopefully he can go on and get the job done because, yeah, another one that's doing some really sharp things. And
the last win we want to highlight was, there was a semi-feature on Friday, the Duncan Dart Memorial. Duncan Dart was certainly a person well missed in the Hunter Valley, and this race was taken out by Belmont Bullet, who's trained by Kat Ernst and her partner Joe McFadden. And if at the start of the show, cast your mind back to the little puppy there that looks like a guinea pig. Well, this is Zach. His picture's also, I think, next to the winning post at Dubbo, Jacko. So if you ever get to Dubbo, you'll see that same picture of Zach, but that's him taking out the Duncan Dart on Friday.
Yeah, well, Kat, I think she'd had enough of showing She's a Pearl for what seemed like an eternity at the start of the year, so she wanted to
get a bit of glory
for
Zach
herself. And all credit to him. He chased home a very smart one there. Ran I think it's Sorry Miss Binks down there on Friday. And not only did Kat and Joe train the winner, they also had the third place getter as well, which was a terrific achievement. And I think they ran 70 winners in the past week, so their kennel is flying. And I would suggest following it if you want to make a profit.
Absolutely. Probably running second only to Stephen Crystal Shinners in the Strike Rate Stakes, the way they're going. Bit of sad news, but we'll do this as a bit of a celebration. Fire Legend, who of course took out the Masters Meteor at the MDC a few months ago. He's run his last race and he's going to be retired to stud. He's been a real warhorse for Mark Moroney and put together a little tribute for you.
Put a big break on a headspace turning. There followed by Eiley Bale, Missy Bale, very wide out Julio. Fire Legend well clear though and romps away for a brilliant win.
Turning for home though, Fire Legend is clear. Rock and Roll's running a bowl race second, but Fire Legend, the favourite, is home.
It's still Fire Legend on top, trying to get on terms as Best Fit as they straighten. Still Fire Legend in front, Best Fit can't pick it up. Fire Legend wins the cup.
Swinging Fire Legend, Ebby Infrared. Fire Legend in front, Ebby Infrared tries hard, but Fire Legend pulling out plenty.
Last off the back, Fire Legend the leader, still a length, lots of chatter. Lakeview Walter a length and a half away as they turn for home. Fire Legend in front, Lakeview Walter and lots of chatter close. They'll hit it. Fire Legend or Lakeview Walter.
Fire Rush the Bolter well back to the field. Forget about Lola Lovelace, Treasure Chest and Gibson's Girl, but have a look at the favourite. Fire Legend absolutely dominated, went to the lead early and has just trounced and put pay to them with consummate ease.
Fire Legend down the back leading it by 4 on getting to second Gypsy Yankee, but he got tangled up with Well Grounded, and Fire Legend's race right away around the home turn. He's 8 lengths in front. Fire Legend in a Masters Meteor Blitz. He won it by 7 or 8.
Hi guys, well it was an outstanding night on track at Addington Raceway last Thursday where it was the running of New Zealand's richest greyhound race, the $100,000 New Zealand Cup. Before we get into racing though, I just want to touch on a big milestone for us on Thursday. It was actually our biggest domestic turnover night in history for greyhound race meeting, and we reached the $1 million mark for the first time, so everyone's super happy with that. Also very thankful to Boys Get Paid who were on track. You guys might know them over there in Australia. They do the big betting syndicates and they put $120,000 on the greyhound races on Thursday night. So super grateful to them for helping us get over that $1 million mark. Onto the racing, Opawa Superstar, he took out the Group 1 New Zealand Cup. Let's check out a replay here. I've got to say, I thought it was game over when Federal Infrared jumped straight to the lead off box 4, but then Opawa Superstar off the 80s managed to find himself in a nice position on the rail. In the concluding stages, he has been too good, too strong, scoring in 30.01 for Jean and Dave Fahey, and has beaten home Federal Infrared and Hometown Hero, both of those greyhounds trained by Lisa Cole. When I caught up with Dave Fahey during the week, he said to me that early on when he was training, he sort of had two real goals in the industry. One was for him and Jean to train over 100 Group Y winners. They'd already done that, and the other goal was to train 10 New Zealand Cup winners, and they achieved that with Opama Superstar on Thursday night. The greyhound's owned by Alan Davidson, one of the nicest guys you'll meet, and also Opama Racing Limited, namely Robin Wales, and that also brings up Opama Racing Limited's 5th New Zealand Cup win. The Fahey's and Opala Racing, they combined again to take out the Group 1 Galaxy Sprint as well with Opala Rider, so it was an outstanding night for that combination. The other Group 1 on the night, No Keeper was an impossibly short favourite in the Group 1 New Zealand Stayers Cup. But Thrilling Rogue had other ideas for Karen Walsh. He's led throughout off box 7. The Silver Collar runner-up, they haven't been able to catch him on Thursday night. And after the race, I caught up with the winning trainer, Karen Walsh.
Joining me is Karen Walsh, who has just won the New Zealand Stayers Cup with Thrilling Rogue. Karen, congratulations. How does it feel to get the win?
Awesome, thanks Liz. Yeah, really wrapped for him to get such a great win after travelling down here 2 weeks in a row.
Look, last week, Karen, No Keeper, he broke the 7:32 metre track record, but your boy has come out, he's hit the lead early. What were your emotions like during the race?
I was rapt to see how well he begun, because last week he sort of slipped on his first stride and sort of took him out of the lead. So I was pleased to see him kick to the lead, but I was a little bit worried when I saw No Keeper sitting so close behind us.
Karen, I know that he's just run the race, but in terms of what next for him, do you have any particular plans in mind?
We haven't really had any plans at all at this stage. We're just sort of see how he gets through this one and look on from there.
And in terms of plans for you, you've come a long way from team route. What's the journey like back for you?
I think it'll be a pretty good one now.
Karen, congratulations. Enjoy the win.
Thanks very much, Liz.
So there it was, the big New Zealand Cup week there, run and won last week. Jacko, of course, we had Kennel Rep for the phase on last week, and Power Superstar took it out, so it's another tick for us there. Favourite got rolled in the big one, but Karen Walsh, her, as I was saying to you, her list of achievements probably over the last 30, 40 years is just about without peer in New Zealand.
Yeah, when Thrilling Rogue was excellent last week, I think most probably thought No Keeper would win that race, but to hold him off, he did get that little bit of a check going out of the straight, but yeah, Thrilling Rogue was outstanding. And
Pat, Chapawa Superstar's win was again stunning. Watching it live from home, you know, from the pink when he wasn't brilliant out, I thought he might be in a bit of trouble here, but his track sense was excellent.
Yeah, and justified himself as one of the better sprinters in New Zealand. It was a top win. No two ways about that, and how often do we sort of glorify how hard it is to win from wide draws in big races? He was able to do that. So looked like a great night there, and obviously joined by royalty as well. I know George Ferrugia and Camo Hallinan were enjoying all the festivities at the track. And just back on Karen Walsh, pardon my ignorance a little bit, but she had a really good record of producing gun stays, because I remember when I first started to get interested in dogs, Thrilling Brat was having some great battles with Miata, and since then it sort of seems like every now and then one of these thrilling dogs will pop up as a gun stayer.
Certainly, well, here in Australia, of course, they've been able to successfully campaign dogs, haven't they, which is really unique. We don't see that trend too much in greyhound racing, do we, Jacko? We see it more in the other two horse codes, but as I said, the list of feature race wins for the Walshes, not only there in New Zealand, but in Australia, I'd say is just about without peer. Let's have a look at the Dog Diary, and the Middle Distance Championship final, of course, as we said, comes up on Thursday night. Group 3 in stature, or Group 3 in name, Jacko, but possibly Group 1 in stature. The Brian Johnson Memorial semi-finals from Angle Park, the Casino Cup heats Friday, and then we roar into Saturday, and this is, look, I always say it's sort of heat night of the Egg, heat night of the Melbourne Cup for me. They're the signature nights. Of course, we'll have heats of the Bold Trees as well coming up on Saturday night. So there it is, Jacko. What does the rest of the week look like for you? You'll be calling, no doubt, at Dapto.
Yeah, I'll be at Dapto. Can't wait for that race. That's a stunning race, and talking with Andy this morning, it's a race that pretty much every greyhound in that race could win with the right sort of luck. So can't wait for that. And of course, at Wenny Park on Wednesday and Saturday, and then Friday afternoon got a nice little tee booking at Concord Golf Course. Never played there, so can't wait.
Pretty posh course too. Good track, Concord, let me tell you. Patch, I'd say you'll be just about one of the busiest men in Melbourne this week.
Oh, fair dinkum. It's a hard life for race callers, isn't it? Gee whiz. But yeah, it was manic last week, and the next couple of weeks are going to be crazy as well. But as you said, there's no better time of the year for the purists and nerds like us. Melbourne Cup heats night. It doesn't get any better than that. Looking forward to resting up Sunday as well. Not trying to go drink for drink with you and give the body a rest.
Yeah, definitely ill-advised, that's for sure. Thanks so much for your company. We really look forward to chiming in again next week and reviewing what is sure to be some outstanding action. But until then, good luck, good punting.